So I have the joyous occasion to share with you why it is that you guys are going to fail to have a great life. And to illustrate that point, I want you guys to imagine something with me. Imagine you get to spend 90 minutes with one of the world's greatest psychics, someone that can see the past and can see the future. And I want you to think about what it is that you believe she will paint your future life to look like. Imagine that. So, do you imagine yourself the head of some radical new company that's bringing clean drinking water to millions of people? Or some tech-savvy engineer who's come up with an incredible app that's going to help change the face of the world and wipe away some of that stuff that Colin shared with us earlier? Or maybe do you kind of think, I'm not sure what it is that she's going to tell me my future is going to look like, and I'm a little afraid of what this chick's going to tell me. So let me share with you why what you believe is what's going to make you fail to have a great life or have an incredibly successful one. So when I was 23, I just graduated from college. I was living the life that I had always dreamed of. I had just made the U.S. national team as a triathlete. I was playing music at night. I was training during the day, surfing my brains out, and it was just incredibly fun. A little bit later on, I went on to win the World Amateur Championships that year. I turned pro. I was getting paid to go around and race, and all the while I was living in this duality of, at night I'm partying and playing music, and then during the day I'm training, and on the weekends I'm racing, and then I'm going to a gig, and then sometimes I literally drive from that gig at the fabulous Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip to some place where the triathlon's gonna go, and don't even sleep in between. That's the life I was living, and it was really cool. And it was everything that I dreamed it was going to be. I had this vision for myself of, as a kid, I'm either going to be an athlete or a musician. And I was actually living both of those. So it was pretty cool. And then, boom, like literally boom, because I'm riding my bike the day before a big race, and I'm 2 miles from home and dreaming of the victory that's going to be mine the next day. And someone cuts through traffic, stops in the middle of the bike lane as I'm going about 30 miles an hour, and literally, boom, I hit the side of that car, huge explosion, huge dent on that car, fly over the top of it, land on my head. I'm unconscious. I wake up in the hospital and realize, oh my God, my life is really messed up. I'm physically going to have to go through 18 months of rehab. And the dream life that I was leading up until that moment had been taken away from me. I was bumming. And then, through a series of little dark alleys, I end up working in the warehouse of my main sponsor. So I'm spending my days now packing boxes and sending them off to customers, or packing boxes and labeling it Lance Armstrong, and like leaving him a little note because Lance was my teammate before that. And pretty much kind of bumming, but I'm thinking, okay, so I've got my music career, and that's gonna save me from this mess that I'm in. Right? The bands that I'm in are going to, one of them is gonna take me out of here. And I had that hope and that dream, okay, I'm all right. Music's gonna work out. So I got this gift to go visit a psychic, 90 minutes with one of the world's greatest psychics. And I drive my VW van up to the west side of town, and there's this beautiful house, and then this beautiful woman answers the door, and I'm thinking, well, where's the psychic lady? Shouldn't she have some sort of trippy garb on? But this beautiful woman escorted me into what was her den, and it was just amazing. Everything was amazing about it, and I'm just tripping out like, wait, you're the psychic? And she immediately begins to share with me things that there's no way she could have known. Now, I need you to know that this is well before Al Gore invented the internet. So there's no way the chick could have Googled me, checked out my pithy Facebook posts, or checked out my Instagram feed, or done any research on me to find out any of the things that I'm doing. She just went right into it. She goes, okay, I want you to know your dad is really sick. I was like, yeah, I already know that. But he's going to live. Your dad's time is not now. And at the time, my dad was really sick, so I was really kind of delighted to hear that. And she said, he's going to go on. And in fact, 30 years later, my dad's still alive. Yay, Dad. And then she goes right into it. She goes, okay, I get the sense that you like to race. I have a sense of turning wheels. And she puts her hands like that. It's like, but you've had an accident. And that accident was a turning point for you. And I was like, yeah, it messed me up. I'm still messed up from it, physically and mentally. Should have seen, I used to be really smart and handsome, and look at me now. At the time, I had like long hair and a nose ring, so it's like the first dude in California to have a nose ring. So I'm sitting with her, and she's like one after another telling me these things. There's just no way. So she tells me, look, this turning point for you, this accident, you're never going to go on to be a professional athlete again. You will not have success like that again as an athlete. And I'm like, going, wait, what? I'm still thinking to myself, I'm 24, and triathletes, especially Ironman athletes, you can peak at the age of 37. So I'm like, wait, you're wrong. You're totally wrong, lady. You think you're a psychic? She's like, okay, dude, you need to quit this other band. This other band is bad news. And now I'm starting to trip because, remember, I need this band to work out to get out of this warehouse and to fix this reality that I've somehow found myself in. She goes, that band is so toxic. And I'm like, wait, no, you're wrong here because that band's about to get signed to Atlantic Records. Like, things are working out for us. It's incredible. And she goes, it's not going to work out. I'm sorry. It's just not going to work. She goes, in fact, you're going to have music in your life, but you're never going to be some successful, incredible rock star. It's just not going to happen for you. And let me remind you, you're not going to be successful as a musician either. So she's really bumming me out. I am not enjoying this at all. And she could tell. She could see my body tense up. I'm like getting ready to walk out. And she goes, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's all right. You are going to enjoy some incredible success. In fact, you are going to go on to be tremendously successful. And I'm like, yes, I am, as either a musician or an athlete. She goes, you are going to be tremendously successful in business. I'm like, business? You may not remember, but I told you I'm packing boxes in a warehouse right now. And look at me, long hair, nose ring, drive my VW van. I'm glad that it made it here, by the way. But business is what my dad does. Business is something I do not have an interest in. I don't like business. Business is yucky. I want to play. I want to ride my bike. I want to race. I want to surf. And then I want to play music at night. She said, I know, it's terrible. I'm telling you terrible things, but they're actually really good. And I'm a psychic, and I know these things, and you can't see it, but you're going to go on to be tremendously successful in business. And I had to just kind of let it all sink in. Business. I'm like going in my head, well, like business. What am I going to do in business? So she goes, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of what it's going to be. It's all going to work out. In fact, you're going to incorporate your athletic life into your business life. You're going to incorporate your music into your business life. You're going to incorporate all the things that you love into that stuff that's going to make you tremendously successful in business. But you cannot be afraid. You cannot look back, and you must do the things that are most your own, meaning apply yourself to the things that you love, which you've been doing already, and it will work out for you. And then she went on to tell me the kicker of it all, which is like the most insane, ridiculous part of the story, which she says, oh, and by the way, tomorrow, a guy with dark hair down to here, his name begins with an S. He's going to call you on the phone, and he's going to offer you a job. and you must take that job. In order for all the stuff I'm telling you about being successful and all that, you got to take that job tomorrow. Which is like, how ridiculous is that whole thing? Like, how does she know that tomorrow that phone's going to ring and the dude's going to look like, some long-haired Hessian dude, and his name begins with an S? So I leave her. I'm kind of tripping out. I'm happy my dad's going to live. I'm bummed because everything I dreamed of isn't going to work out, but I'm going to be a businessman. So I'm like envisioning myself in a suit and tie, cruising around with my briefcase and doing all sorts of weird business-like stuff. And then I went back to reality where I'm working in the warehouse, and the whole day went by and no phone call. And that's, the phones look like that. I mean, they weren't fancy green. We couldn't afford that. But phones were attached to the wall, and they had a cord, and, there was no, I think cell phones at the time were like this big, and if you used it for like 2 minutes, you got brain cancer. It's terrible. So at the end of the day, or as the end of the day approached, I'm going, well, all right, dude's not going to call. Psychic was punking me. But I started to go, what if I could fashion a new reality? What if I could just believe what she told me? And what if I could become successful at business? What would that look like? Would it involve all those things that I love? And how would I make the first steps out of that warehouse towards that new reality? What would those things be? I don't need the psychic to tell me what that is. And I don't need some dude with long hair whose names begin with an S to tell me that I've got some new job that I'm going to do. Why don't I just go out and find that myself? And so I'm closing up the warehouse, and there's this big door that I had to close, and it's noisy and it's clanking, and I think I hear the phone, but I'm not sure, and I keep closing it, and then it was the phone. So I sauntered on over, picked up the phone, and this guy named Scott Zagarino called me. He said, Michael, I've been looking for you. Gatorade just became the title sponsor of the Hawaiian Ironman, and they've awarded my agency to direct the whole thing for them, and I need you, because I can't do it for this reason and that reason, I need you to go and do that. I need you to be our point person, which eventually ended up that I got to be the executive director of this event through the prism of Gatorade sponsorship. So I had this, wait for the chuckle there, shift moment where I was like, oh my God, now I can live my life unfettered by fear, right? Because in our lives, people tell us, oh, you can't go on and do that. Or our parents say, no, you're not going to be a drummer, son, right? You're going to be an accountant because that's practical. And we have everyone around us telling us we can't do this and we can't do that and you shouldn't do that and that's not safe and that's not cool. And how are you going to do that? And by the way, they're all wrong. But for me, I knew that I was going to succeed. So I could actually push the envelope. I could do things that other people weren't doing. I could shun the status quo. I could creatively disrupt. I could get crazy with stuff. And it's all going to work out, right? Because the psychic said so. She was right about my dad. She was right about all these other things that I didn't like. But she was right because, you know what? Some dude whose name begins with an S, whose hair was pretty long, called me the next day and said, you're going to do this rad job. And I said, yes, I am. So the paradigm shift for me meant that I walked out of that warehouse and went on to enjoy this life where I got to travel the globe, either creating or producing world-class events. I became the publisher of Surfing Magazine. I got to create innovative products. I got to make TV shows and films. I got to become the president and CEO of a publicly traded company. I became the chairman of the board of the Surfrider Foundation. I got to do all these things that I love to be a part of. I got to put my passions either into creatively disrupting or helping institutions grow or doing things that made people's lives better. I got to do all of that and enjoy it, and it was really amazing. I have no idea what the next slide is, but it's the takeaways. So I have a few takeaways for you guys. And hopefully you're already like, well, takeaways, we already know. We know we need to pursue that which we love, and we're going to be incredibly successful, and we don't need a psychic for that. But actually, there's a few other things that are really practical that I'd like to share with you. First off, if you're going to go about doing what you want to do and you think you want to do, take some time to really understand what it is that's your North Star, what it is that you really want to do that's most your own. Like, figure that out first, right? Don't flounder and like go from this thing to that thing and try and understand it. And by the way, what you believe today to be your ultimate destination or your version of heaven, it will morph over time, and that's okay. As long as you're directionally correct, like you know that pretty much it's kind of over there and it looks like this, and you start working to get there and taking those steps to get there, then you're directionally correct. Directionally correct basically means this: you're good at something, you love to do it, you're getting appreciated for doing it, and it's making lives better for people all around you, or people that you don't even meet. That's directionally correct. That means you're following your North Star. And again, that thing may drift over time as the true North Star does, but you're directionally correct and you will end up someplace wonderful. For me, I thought I knew where I was going, and it ended up that I was going to a place even better than I had thought because I was directionally correct in the things that I was doing. The other thing that's really important is, let's start at the end, right? Like, what does that version of heaven look like? Where is it? And then let's work backwards and figure out what it is that we're going to do to get there. Let's really understand where we want to end up. Sometimes things don't work out the way you wanted, right? Like, I've been hit by a car 5 times. And each one of those times had a really important pivotal moment for me. But things don't always work out the way you want. In fact, usually your higher self reveals things to you in the most distressed times. Not when things are cruising and everything's good. That's not when it happens. Your calling typically manifests itself in awkward times. Money is not the end game, right? I need to remind you this, that your calling in life may not have to do with money, but fulfillment and happiness can. And what I would like to remind everyone is that what you believe is the most powerful thing as you orient your life towards that great life that you're going to lead, because you're going to lead a great life if you go ahead and do that. So the closing is, know where you want to go. Believe you're going to get there, and then keep thinking of that beautiful place. And lastly, happiness is not that beautiful place, by the way. Happiness is what happens along the way as you're going after that thing that you love, as you're walking towards that version of heaven that's your own. That's where the happiness is. Thank you very much.